Hello everyone and welcome back to my Pathfinder build guides. My name is Jordan and today we'll be figuring out how to play a Space Marine from the Warhammer 40k universe.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
For our goals for this build, we need to go beyond human. For the uninitiated, warriors of the Adeptus Astartes, aka Space Marines, receive 19 artificial organs that work together to make a baseline human larger, faster, smarter, and more resilient to the limits of human physiology. We're going to try to replicate as many of these organ effects as we can. Space Marines are also equipped with the best arms and armor humanity has to offer that elevate their abilities even further. Lastly, the very sight of us should inspire hope in our allies and crippling fear in our enemies. For stats, we're going to be using the steps outlined on page 24 of the core rulebook. Everything starts out at 10, and depending on our class, ancestry, and background, we take different boosts and flaws to reach our level 1 stats. Roll for stats if you want, but keep an eye on your wisdom and intelligence to meet multi-class requirements. Strength is our primary stat. The signature weapon of the Astartes is basically a one-handed RPG launcher that would shatter a normal human's arm if they attempted to fire one. Dexterity is second. Their other iconic weapon is a one-handed sword-shaped chainsaw that they wield with impossible grace. Constitution is next. Even an unarmored Marine is capable of shrugging off small arms fire and continue to fight effectively even with severed limbs and ruptured organs. Intelligence after that. Space Marines aren't necessarily smarter than baseline humans, but between their photographic memory and centuries of experience, they can keep up with any scholar. Wisdom is next. Space Marine senses are just as heightened as their physical and cognitive abilities. Last is charisma. Their intimidation in the lore is more tied to what they can do and how imposing they look, not really any special behavior on their part. Space Marines start out as normal humans, but if you keep quiet with the Inquisition, I'll let you in on a little secret. I think there might be some Xenos DNA thrown into the mix because half-orcs get low light vision and access to a wider variety of feats that we want. We take our free boost to strength and dexterity. We'll take the warrior background for boost to constitution and wisdom, training in intimidation and lore warfare, and access to the intimidating glare feat for free, which allows us to use the demoralizing action, switching the auditory component for a visual one, and we no longer take a penalty for not speaking the same language as the target. For our ancestry feat, we'll take Orc Ferocity. Once per day, if our HP hits 0 and we aren't killed, instead of being knocked down, we go to 1 HP and our wounded condition increases by 1 instead. The Adeptus Astartes are a militant organization. That means every member is first a soldier. That makes them fighters. First level fighters get a boost to strength. They also get attack of opportunity, which allows them to make a melee strike at a nearby opponent if certain conditions are met or if they just look at us wrong. We also get access to the shield block feat, meaning we take reduced damage from physical attacks that hit us while we have our shield raised. Quick aside here, we aren't really going to be focusing on a specific weapon for this character. The few weapon-oriented feats we'll take can be swapped for whatever you want your Marine's loadout to be. I'm going to say sword and shield a lot here, but pretend I'm saying insert your preferred weapon here. For our class feat, we'll take Power Attack, which lets us make a melee attack that counts as 2 attacks. If it hits, we add an extra damage die to the weapon damage. For our level 1 boost, we'll hit up Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, and Dexterity. We'll become trained in Athletics from our class training. For our skills, we'll become trained in Acrobatics, Crafting, and Survival. At level 2, we'll take the Titan Wrestler feat. I wasn't able to figure out how to make us permanently 8 feet tall, but that doesn't mean we can't fight like we're a large creature. This feat allows us to disarm, grapple, shove, or trip creatures up to 2 sizes larger than medium. For our class feat, we're going to get dedicated to the God Emperor with the Cleric Dedication feat. Choose whatever deity you want. We're just here for divine spells. Message is a cantrip that allows us to send spoken words directly into the ears of a creature up to 120 feet away. No direction allows you to find north. I'm sure there's a compass in that armor somewhere. For skill training, we'll take stealth and religion. Level 3 fighters get bravery to increase our will saves up to expert. In addition, anytime we would get the frightened condition, we reduce the value by 1. For our general feat, we'll take adopted ancestry, selecting dwarf. This allows us to take ancestry feats from the selected race in addition to our born race. Now we're throwing squats into the mix too. Not sure if I said this before, but this build is kind of complicated. For our skill increase, we'll gain expert proficiency in athletics. At level 4, we'll take the basic cleric spellcasting feat. This gives us access to a first level spell slot. Magic weapon turns your sword into a power sword, granting a non-magical weapon a +1 item bonus to attack rolls and increasing the number of weapon damage dice to 2. For our skill feat, we'll take steady balance, giving us better results on balance checks, remove flat-footedness while we are attempting to balance on narrow or uneven surfaces, and we can use our acrobatic skill instead of our reflex save for a grab and ledge reaction. Level 5 fighters gain fighter weapon mastery and a weapon group of their choice, giving us master proficiency for simple and martial weapons in that group, and opening up critical specialization effects for that weapon group. For the sword group, that makes the target flat-footed for 1 round on a critical success. For our ancestry feat, we're going to roll out an Imperial Fist for this build by taking Dragon Spit, which gives us access to the Acid Splash cantrip that we can cast from our mouth. For our ability boost, we'll increase Strength, Constitution, Dexterity, and Intelligence. For our skills, we'll become an expert in Acrobatics and trained in Medicine. At level 6, we'll continue our Cleric dedication by taking Basic Dogma, opening up a 1st or 2nd level Cleric feat. We'll take Emblazoned Armament, which allows us to slap a Purity Seal on a weapon or shield, giving a +1 bonus to damage or hardness, respectively. We also get a level 2 spell slot. Resist Energy gives a creature in touch range resistance from our choice of Acid, Cold, Electricity, Fire, or Sonic damage for 10 minutes. We'll also take the Hefty Hauler feat to increase our maximum and encumbered bulk limits by 2. 7th level fighters are Battlefield Surveyors, giving them Master Proficiency in Perception, as well as giving a +2 Circumstance bonus to Perception checks when rolling for initiative. Weapon Specialization is also a thing. Since we're a Master in Simple and Martial Swords, we'll gain an additional 3 damage to our attacks with them. For our feat, we'll take the Toughness feat, giving us increased max HP equal to our level, and the DC for recovery checks become 9 plus our dying condition rather than 10 plus. We also become a master in athletics at this level. Space Marines are recruited from an early age and put through numerous painful trials in order to shape them into members of an exclusive, feared organization with super recognizable armor. In Pathfinder, we call those Hell Knights. The Hell Knight Armiger dedication gives us training in Intimidation and Hell lore, and also a +1 resistance to mental damage. This increases by 1 for each additional Hell Knight archetype feat we take. We also get to choose an order to dedicate ourselves to that will give us a benefit later down the line. We'll select the Order of the Scourge. We also get access to the exclusive Hell Knight Plate Armor. At level 8, basic Cleric spellcasters get a 3rd level spell slot. Heroism gives 1 human within touch range a +1 bonus to attack rolls, perception checks, saving throws, and skill checks for 10 minutes. You're not necessarily an apothecary, but the Battle Medicine feat allows us to take a medicine check to heal an amount of HP to yourself or an adjacent ally. Level 9 fighters gain combat flexibility, allowing us to temporarily take an 8th level or lower fighter feat we don't already have as part of our daily preparations. This is one of the reasons we went fighter despite only taking 1 fighter feat at 9 levels. Now we won't be completely locked into a specific weapon or combat type. We can take a range feat and equip a heavy crossbow if we have another frontliner in the squad. We can spec into a shield feat if we know we'll be getting up close and personal. We also get Juggernaut, which increases our Fortitude saves to Master Proficiency. Also, when we make a success on a Fortitude save, we get a critical success instead. For our Ancestry feat, we'll cash in on that Dwarven adopted ancestry and take Forge Days rest, go 20 hours between rests without becoming fatigued. We'll gain Master Proficiency in Acrobatics as well. At level 10, we'll add another piece of gear to our Hell Knight equipment by taking the Hell Knight Signifier dedication. By doing so, we gain a Signifier's Mask, giving us a +1 bonus to deception checks to lying, intimidation checks, and our DC to sense motive checks. Looking through the mask allows us to see with artificial senses and speak with an artificial voice, so basically a helm for our power armor. For our skill feat, we'll take Intimidating Prowess, giving us a +1 circumstance bonus to demoralize and coerce actions in which our physicality can play a role. For ability boosts, we'll increase Strength, Constitution, Dexterity, and Intelligence. We'll also become trained in Nature. 11th level fighters gain Expert Proficiency in all armor types. We also increase our fighter class DC to Expert. We'll take the Die Hard feat to die at dying 5 rather than dying 4. For our skill increase, we'll become a Master in Intimidation. At level 12, we'll take Signifier Sight, turning on the infrared vision in our mask, giving us dark vision and reducing the flat DC check to target creatures while we're dazzled from 5 to 3. We'll take the Group Coercion skill, allowing us to intimidate multiple creatures at once. Since we are a Master Proficiency in Intimidation, we can attempt to coerce 10 people at once. Level 13 fighters gain Weapon Legend, meaning we get Master Proficiency in all simple and martial weapons and Expert Proficiency in advanced weapons. In addition, we choose a specific weapon group and gain Legendary Proficiency in simple and martial weapons in that group and Master Proficiency in advanced weapons in that group. We're going to continue down the sword route here, but once again, this depends on whatever weapon you'd prefer to use. For our Ancestry feat, we'll take another Dwarf feat with Mountain Stoutness. This is basically the sequel to the Toughness feat we took earlier. We get additional max HP equal to our level, and the DC for our recovery checks from dying becomes 9+ instead of 10+. Since we already have Toughness, the DC gets further reduced to 6+ our dying value instead. For skills, we'll become an expert in crafting. At level 14, we'll take the Certain Strike class feat, allowing our melee strikes to deal our base damage on a failure result. We'll also take the Battle Cry feat, allowing us to demoralize a foe as a free action when we roll for initiative. Level 15 fighters gain improved flexibility, meaning we can now temporarily take up to 2 fighter feats during our daily preparations. The first feat still needs to be 8th level or lower, but the second can now be up to level 14. We also get evasion, improving our reflex saves to master proficiency and granting us the critical success effects on a regular success. We also get greater weapon specialization to add an additional 8 damage to attacks with weapons we have legendary proficiency in and 6 damage to everything else, since we have at least master proficiency in all weapon types. We'll take the breath control feat, allowing us to hold our breath for 25 times as long without suffocating and granting a +1 circumstance bonus against inhaled threats. And we get a critical success on a result of a regular success instead. For ability boosts, we'll increase strength, constitution, dexterity, and intelligence. For skill increases, we'll become legendary in athletics and trained in thievery. At level 16, we'll continue our Hell Knight dedication by taking order training to gain the lesser benefit of our chosen order. For the Order of the Scourge, we gain Fear No Law, Fear No One. We gain the critical success effects on success rolls against fear effects, and if we would ever gain the Frightened condition, we decrease the initial value by 1. Space Marines know no fear, but our enemies certainly do. The Terrified Retreat feat forces the target to flee when you critically succeed on a demoralized check against a lower-leveled enemy. Level 17 fighters gain Armor Mastery, increasing our proficiency in all armor types to Master. For our Ancestry feat, we take Multi-Talented, which allows us to take a 2nd-level multi-class dedication feat. We'll use this to gain the Alchemist dedication, giving us alchemical crafting for free, in addition to the Infused Reagents class feature, meaning we can immediately add 4 level 1 formulas to our alchemical formula book. We can use our crafting skill to make alchemical items. We can now research or copy new formulas to our book, and we can make alchemical items during our daily preparations at no cost. Alchemist Fire is our crack grenade. It's a bomb that deals 1d8 fire damage, 1 persistent fire damage, and 1 fire splash damage. Peshpine Grenade is our frag grenade. It's another bomb that deals 1d6 piercing damage, 1 piercing splash damage, and the target gains stupefied 1. Elixir of Life is a consumable that restores hit points and grants an item bonus to saving throws and diseases and poisons for 10 minutes. Juggernaut Mutagen is another consumable that grants temporary hit points at the cost of a -2 penalty to will saves, perception checks, and initiative rolls. We become a master of acrobatics at this level and trained in diplomacy. At level 18, we get to strap on a jump pack. Cloud Jump triples your long jump distance and makes your high jump distance equal to your unmodified long jump. In addition, we can use additional available actions each turn to increase the jump distance even further. Basic Concoction is an Alchemist archetype feat that gives us access to a 1st or 2nd level Alchemist feat. Poison Resistance is an Alchemist feat that gives us resistance to poison equal to half of our level. In addition, we gain a +1 status bonus to saving throws against poison. Level 19 fighters get Versatile Legend, increasing our proficiency for simple, martial, and unarmored attacks to legendary and increase our proficiency in advanced weapons to master. We'll take the Fast Recovery feat, allowing us to gain twice as many hit points from resting. Additionally, anytime we succeed a Fortitude save against an ongoing disease or poison, we reduce the stage of that poison by 2 or by 1 if the disease or poison is virulent. A critical success decreases the value by 3 and 2 respectively. We can also recover from the drain condition faster, reducing the condition value by 2 during a night's rest instead of 1. For skills, we'll become a master in crafting, allowing us to craft alchemical formulas up to level 15. At level 20, we'll tap into our mental conditioning with the Inventor feat. This allows us to invent common alchemical formulas as easily as crafting. For our class feat, we'll take Ultimate Flexibility to upgrade our combat flexibility, allowing us to take 3 feats during our daily preparations instead of 2. The 1st and 2nd still need to be 8th and 14th level or below respectively, but the 3rd can be up to 18th level. For our ability boost, we'll increase our Constitution, Wisdom, Dexterity, and Charisma. Now that we're level 20, let's examine the pros and cons of this build. Only in death does duty end, except for you, because you're never going to die. Not only are your recovery checks vastly easier than your average human, but you also have a wide variety of resistances to different types of damage and status conditions innately. You're also versatile, not just in the fighter sense, but in the actual ability sense. We tried to gain as many of the Space Marine organs and tech through feats and class features. For instance, Die Hard will be our secondary heart, Toughness, our Osmodula, Hefty Hauler for the Biscopia, Mountain Stoutness, the Hemostamen, Orc Ferocity for the Lairman's organ, Forge Day's Rest for the Catalepsian node, Poison Resistance for our Preomnor, Breath Control for our Multilung, Low Light Vision for the Oculobe, Steady Balance for the Lineman's Ear, Resist Energy for the Melanchrome, Fast Recovery for the Oolitic Kidney, Dragon Spit for the Betcher's Gland, Black Carapace through our Hell Knight Armature dedication. The message spell represents our Vox communication. Signifier Sight is our Helm sensor array. and the bombs from the alchemist feat represent our grenades. But this is all assuming anyone wants to tangle with you in the first place. The mere sight of you may cause the enemy to flee altogether. For cons, we're only really a fighter on paper. Sure, we have legendary weapon attacks, but with only a handful of fighter feats, you're going to be outshined in combat by the more focused members of your party. In the same vein, you also aren't very specialized in any specific weapon. The fighter flexibility helps combat this, but 3 feats aren't really going to make up for the 15 semi-random feats we took to become a post-human. But Space Marines don't go into combat alone. Work together with your squad, but be ready to evac and call down an exterminatus if things get too chaotic. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe. We post a new build every week. Come back next time. We're going to be back to the Rift with a satanic rat you're going to love.